Stencils. I am a brand specialist for Dynasty Brush. I'm going to show you how to make a stenciled tag, and I'm going to show you the way to have a successful stencil. Okay, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to use this palmer brush, and it's called that because you can put it in the palm of your hand, and it's a very comfortable fit. And this is the 1 inch, and it comes in 1 inch and 2 inch. So you're going to sneak up on that puddle of paint. You don't ever want to just start in the middle, because you want a thin coat that covers, and you don't want it to be globby, because if you get too thick, then it's going to take a really long time to dry. So I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to work those bristles. I'm pushing them so that I can push that paint in through the brush. And then I'm going to do a slip slap motion. I'm going to cover the entire tag. Go back and reload a little bit if you need to, but also always stay on the outside of that puddle. Turn your work if you need to. I'm left-handed, and I do most of my painting upside down. So now we've got that covered, and we're going to need to dry it, or to let it dry. You want to put your palmer brush in the water and clean it off, because if you leave it in there, the acrylic will dry and you will ruin your brush. So a nice little tip, a hack, if you will, to getting your tag dry quickly is to take a shop towel or a Viva towel and lay it down, press on it, don't rub it or move it, just press on it and lift it straight up, and your excess paint will come off with it. And what you have left is almost dry, and it will dry. And you can do it more than once if you need to. So I think we're probably pretty dry, so we can do our stenciling. So I have this plaid stencil. I can put it straight or I can put it diagonally, and I'm going to go diagonally. So that adds a little bit of interest. Now the important part about learning to stencil is the load on your brush. If you have a fail at stenciling, it's because you have too much water and too much paint. So you're going to take a bone dry brush, and you're going to, once again, sneak up on that puddle of paint. I'm only going to put a little bit on that, so you can barely see that there's any paint there. And I'm going to circular rub some of that paint off. Then I'm going to go to my shop towel, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to scrub it so that you would almost think there's no paint there. So I'm going to come over here, and because this is background, I'm not going to pounce. I'm going to do circular scrubbing, because pouncing adds texture, and I want this to be a support, not to be the star of the show. So I'm going to just scrub all the way through it. I'm not going to lift up, and when I have to reload, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to scrub it here. I'm going to scrub it there. I'm never going to go to my surface without going to the paper towel first. And I'm going to start where I've already been, because every time you put that brush down, you're going to put it down at a different pressure for a different load. And you want consistency. The key word for stenciling is dry brush and dry paint. You don't ever want to move that stencil until you're finished. So you might get paint on your hands. Okay. The reason I can tell that my load is correct is because it's a matte look instead of a shiny look, and I lift it up. You have no seepage, no running. You have straight, crisp lines. So then you're going to want this to dry, but it's almost dry because you used a dry brush technique. So you don't have to wait very long. So what else I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this a little bit. And I have a Snowflake Stencil, and I'm going to put this kind of centered towards the bottom, lower center, and I'm going to use another stencil because I don't want the black on here to get with the white. And I'm using white because it's a nice contrast. So I'm using another stencil brush, and I'm going to use that same loading technique. Just a very little bit on. I'm gonna circular scrub it here, circular scrub it on my paper towel. It looks very dry. I'm gonna hold down and I'm gonna use that same motion. Now I'm pouncing a little bit because I want to fill it in, but I noticed that I need another coat. So I'm going to give that a minute to set up while I reload. Swirl here, and go back and get that second coat in. And when we lift it straight up. I'm going to do one more little thing. I have a Lori Spelt stencil here with some words, and let's put mistletoe on. I'm going to put this straight down. I'm going to center it above my snowflake. I'm going to go back to my white brush, my red brush that has white paint. I'm going to swirl around. I'm going to come back to my shop towel, swirl again, and we'll use the same motion. Lift it straight up. And then you can embellish this if you'd like with some gems that will stick on there, and you've got a nice little tag.